The crystal chandeliers of the Princeton University Club reflected off my Louboutins as I stood in the shadows, watching my former classmates parade their success around the annual Alumni Gala. 15 years since I'd walked away from my full scholarship, or threw my life away, as they'd put it. Is that Alexandra Chun? The whispers started as soon as I entered. The dropout? What's she doing here? I adjusted my Saint Laurent blazer, a small smile playing at my lips. They'd find out soon enough why the invitation to tonight's Tech Innovation Leaders Gala had included my name. Alex! A familiar voice made me turn. Rebecca Stewart, now a senior partner at Goldman Sachs, her success worn like armor. I didn't expect to see you here. This event is for. She paused delicately, distinguished alumni. Hello, Rebecca. I kept my voice neutral, remembering how she'd led the gossip campaign when I left school. Lovely to see you too. We were just discussing the speaker list, she continued, gesturing to a cluster of our former classmates. Marcus is introducing the next Tech Global President. Very hush-hush. Apparently no one knows who's taking over as CEO. Though I'm sure you don't follow tech industry news. If she only knew. I glanced at my phone, checking the time. The press release would go live in exactly 43 minutes, announcing Nextech's new leadership and our groundbreaking quantum computing breakthrough. Actually, I smiled. I try to stay informed. Alex! Marcus Webb's voice boomed across the room. Student body president turned venture capitalist, he'd been particularly vocal about my wasted potential when I left Princeton. Didn't expect to see you at something like this. Finally decided to go back to school. Just here for the announcements, I replied mildly, watching him preen in his custom tuxedo. Right, the next tech thing. He straightened his bow tie. Very exciting. I'm making the introduction, you know. Been working with their board for months, trying to get their quantum computing division to accept our investment offer. I bit back a laugh, remembering the scathing analysis I'd written rejecting Web Capital's proposal. Their evaluation of our quantum technology had been embarrassingly superficial. How fascinating, I murmured. Any insider insight on the new president? Some hotshot from MIT, I heard. These tech types, all algorithms and no real business sense. He shrugged. Not that you'd understand either side of it, having dropped out and all. The familiar judgment in his tone took me back 15 years, to the day I'd walked away from Princeton's prestigious computer science program. Not because I couldn't handle it, I was top of my class, but because I'd seen something bigger. A gap in quantum computing that no one else had noticed, a possibility that couldn't wait for graduation ceremonies and diploma frames. I'd traded my dorm room for a garage workspace, my meal plan for ramen noodles, and my full scholarship for a chance to revolutionize computing. The first few years were brutal. Coding during the day, debugging at night, living on coffee and determination. My former classmates had loved updating their LinkedIn profiles with my downfall. Alexandra Chun, from Princeton prodigy to cautionary tale. They'd shared the story at every reunion, every chance meeting, every networking event. None of them had noticed when my first quantum computing patent was approved, or when my tiny startup, operating under a different name, began attracting serious attention from tech giants, or when Nextech Global, the industry leader in quantum technology, had approached me about an acquisition. They definitely hadn't noticed when I'd turned the tables and acquired them instead. Almost time for the announcements. Marcus checked his Rolex. I should prepare my introduction. Try not to embarrass yourself during the tech presentation, Alex. These concepts are quite advanced. I watched him walk away, remembering all the times he'd called my quantum computing theories cute during study groups. Now those same theories were about to reshape the entire industry. The ballroom filled quickly as Princeton's elite gathered for the main event. I recognized faces from the business world, tech sector, and venture capital firms, all here to witness what they thought would be a simple leadership announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, the event coordinator called out, please take your seats. We're about to begin the evening's main presentation. I moved to my assigned table, directly in front of the podium. Rebecca's eyebrows shot up when she saw my placement. There must be some mistake, she said loudly. These seats are reserved for VIP guests. No mistake, I replied, smoothing my blazer. I'm exactly where I should be. Marcus took the stage, adjusting his tie again. Distinguished alumni, honored guests. Tonight, we witness a historic moment in tech industry leadership. Nextech Global, the world's premier quantum computing company, will announce its new president and CEO. I checked my phone one last time. The press release was cued. Trading algorithms ready. Everything in place for what would happen next. This mysterious leader, Marcus continued, has revolutionized quantum computing theory and practical applications. Their work will fundamentally change how we process information, secure data, and imagine the future of technology. The irony of him praising my work while smirking at my presence wasn't lost on me. But before we meet this visionary leader, let me share some personal insight into Nextech's journey. He launched into a completely inaccurate analysis of my company's technology, mangling the quantum principles I'd spent years perfecting. I let him ramble, enjoying these last few moments of their ignorance. 15 years of dismissal and doubt were about to be answered with something far more powerful than words. And now, Marcus finally concluded, please join me in welcoming the new president and CEO of Nextech Global, Dr. Catherine. He squinted at the teleprompter, confusion crossing his face as the text changed. A security team in sharp suits appeared at the stage edges. The head of security stepped forward, his voice clear and professional. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the president and CEO of Nextech Global, Dr. Alexandra Chen. The silence was absolute. The click of my heels against the stage steps echoed through the stunned silence. Marcus stood frozen at the podium, his mouth opening and closing like a crashed computer trying to reboot. Thank you, Marcus, I said smoothly, taking his place. Though I should correct a few points about our quantum architecture. It's not actually based on MIT research. The teleprompter flickered with my prepared speech, but I didn't need it. I'd been rehearsing this moment for 15 years. Distinguished alumni, I began, enjoying how that phrase landed differently now. Nextech Global isn't just announcing new leadership tonight. We're unveiling technology that will redefine computing as we know it. The screens behind me lit up with our latest quantum processing benchmarks. Numbers that made traditional computing look like an abacus. Technology that had already attracted $12 billion in pre-market investments. Our Q-core processor, I continued, can solve in seconds what would take classical computers millennia. This isn't theoretical. It's ready for market. And yes, I smiled directly at Marcus. The concepts are quite advanced. Rebecca's champagne glass slipped from her fingers, shattering against the marble floor. The sound seemed to break the spell of silence. This is impossible, she burst out. You're a dropout. Correction. I gestured to the screens where my credentials appeared. I'm a dropout with 28 patents, 15 breakthrough papers, and a company valued at $89 billion as of today's market close. The room erupted in chaos. Phones appeared everywhere as people frantically Googled my name, checked stock alerts, tried to process how the cautionary tale had become the success story. But my firm has been trying to meet with Nextech's CEO for months, Marcus stammered. We have a standing offer. Yes, Web Capital's proposal. I pulled up their assessment on the screen. Let's discuss your evaluation of our quantum decoherence solutions. Page 4, paragraph 2. Would you like to explain your analysis to the room? He paled, recognizing his own flawed technical assumptions displayed for everyone to see. The offer was rejected, I continued, because your firm fundamentally misunderstood our technology. Rather like you misunderstood me 15 years ago when you called quantum computing a cute hobby. The press was having a field day. Headlines were already flooding social media. Princeton dropout revealed as tech giant CEO. Nextech's mystery leader, the prodigy they called a failure. Quantum computing revolutionary was dismissed by Ivy League peers. Ms. Chun, a reporter called out, did you deliberately keep your identity hidden all these years? I stepped away from the podium, addressing the room more intimately. I learned something valuable when I left Princeton. Success doesn't need an audience. Innovation doesn't need permission. And validation. I met the eyes of my former classmates. Validation comes from results, not resumes. The next hour was a detailed presentation of Nextech's technology. I explained quantum concepts that had once earned me mockery in study groups, now transformed into billion-dollar breakthroughs. With each slide, each demonstration, I watched my former critics sink further into their seats. And now, I concluded, I'll take questions. Technical ones, preferably. Though I'm sure some of you are more interested in my shopping habits and apartment size. Right, Rebecca? She had the grace to blush, remembering all the times she'd publicly speculated about my sad little life post-dropout. Your quantum processing speeds, a tech reporter called out. They're unprecedented. How did you achieve this? With the same theories I proposed in my last Princeton paper, I replied. The one the department called unrealistic. Turns out reality just needed time to catch up to the math. Alex, my former academic advisor, Professor Chin, no relation, stood up. I was wrong. We all were. What you've achieved. Save it. I cut him off gently. I didn't build this to prove you wrong. I built it because it needed to exist. Your approval or disapproval stopped matching the day I chose innovation over validation. The after-party was a study in social dynamics. People who had snubbed me for years now competed for my attention. Venture capitalists pressed their cards into my hands. Former classmates tried to remind me of non-existent friendships. Remember when we studied together? Marcus attempted, cornering me by the bar. Those late nights in the computer lab. You mean when you copied my problem sets? I sipped my champagne. Or when you told the department my quantum theories were attention-seeking nonsense? He deflated. Alex, about the investment proposal. Is rejected, I finished. Though I'm sure your firm will have great success with more conventional investments. Later, in my private office above Manhattan, I watched the market react to our announcement. Nextech's stock soaring, competitors scrambling, the tech world reshaping itself around our innovation. Your old classmates are all trying to connect on LinkedIn, my assistant noted, scrolling through notifications. I smiled, remembering the LinkedIn updates they'd posted about my downfall years ago. How things change. The next morning, I didn't drive my Porsche to our headquarters. Instead, I took my original route, subway to bus to the converted garage where I'd written my first quantum algorithms. The space was mine now, preserved exactly as it had been. A reminder that success isn't built in marble halls and ivy towers. It's built in quiet moments of conviction, in choosing innovation over approval, in believing in yourself when no one else will. A week later, Princeton's president called. They wanted to give me an honorary degree, name a computer science fellowship after me. I declined politely. But you're our most successful dropout, he protested. Exactly, I replied. And I'd rather fund scholarships for other dropouts with dreams too big for traditional paths. The Alexandra Chin Innovation Fund launched the following semester, supporting unconventional thinkers in quantum computing. Its first recipient? A brilliant student leaving Harvard to pursue a crazy theory about quantum teleportation. The press loved the symmetry of it all. The dropout funding dropouts, success sponsoring risk-takers. But they missed the deeper truth. Sometimes the greatest innovation comes from stepping off the approved path. Sometimes success means ignoring the whispers, the doubts, the carefully constructed definitions of what achievement should look like. Rebecca still sends occasional emails, usually about investment opportunities. Marcus's firm published a glowing analysis of Nextech's technology, carefully avoiding mention of their previous dismissal. My old professors now use my story to warn against underestimating unconventional students. But I don't measure my success by their recognition. I measure it in quantum breakthroughs, in patents that reshape reality, in moments when technology exceeds what everyone thought was possible. The Princeton Alumni Association still sends invitations to their events. Sometimes I attend, not to prove anything, but to remind myself and others that success doesn't always wear school colors or follow traditional paths. Sometimes it wears a dropout's determination and changes the world anyway. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.